the recording. Okay. So if you can welcome yourself as presence. Sort of turn your attention to your body and invite your entire feeling state to sort of relax and rest as being, as presence. Notice the stillness, the peace. And allow your experience to be whichever way it is, whichever way it appears to you. It doesn't really matter. You don't need to figure anything out. Simply allow God's being to be recognized within yourself. A thought may arise. It arises within the peaceful spaciousness of awareness. Nothing is disturbed. The sensation may arise. Attention may turn towards the sensation. The presence does not move. The peace of being is the I. It's there, irrespective of what seems to be. When you are still, when you're not separating yourself by seeking and resisting. Yeah. An imaginary seeker. When you are still, you are this stillness. And the stillness is everywhere. And you are that stillness that's everywhere. In this stillness, and as this stillness, there is no one who is separate from the stillness. This stillness is God's stillness. It's being recognized here. And we honor this stillness by our recognition. Recognition that goes deeper than the realm of thinking and feeling. So that the realm of thinking and feeling becomes blessed by this stillness, healed. Enlightened. Peace and happiness is our true nature and the nature of the universe. The causeless peace and happiness. But when you separate yourself from your true nature, you cherish your story and history. You separate yourself from the causeless happiness of being. And you imagine and you experience yourself as the me bubble, while all along you are this transparent, aware presence, the reality of being, the reality of consciousness. The sense of separation is rooted in the activity of resisting and seeking. While there is nothing to resist and nothing to seek, you project yourself as someone lacking something. You project a sense of separation via the senses and via the mental. You project conditions for happiness. You compose various activities to find happiness somewhere in some experience or in some situation. And by doing so, you objectify yourself and you objectify happiness. Which is doomed to fail. Because you cannot objectify the non-objective. The objectification is the illusion. The illusion of an objective me, an objective world. And the illusion of various activities. The illusion of time, the space. And so you become a point, a bundle of activities within time and space, moving along the chart. There is no reality to a seeker. Because there is no reality to separation. Although the hallucination may seem to be very strong, there is no reality to the hallucination. God consciousness is available to you 24/7 to sink deeper and deeper into it. Into the silent, still presence. God is deeply rooted in the silent, still presence. It is the silent, still presence. Everything else is the weather. The weather is God's wind. God the winding. There is no possibility for you to discover anything tomorrow, because you You will never experience tomorrow. Happiness tomorrow is a mistaken model. You never leave presence. There's never been anything else. There's never been a past and a future. It's a mentation. The thought says past and future. And so now is tomorrow's yesterday. And yesterday's tomorrow. But it's always now. Now being the eternity of presence, the eternity of consciousness. That which I am. It's okay that there was a mind impressions of separation and unhappiness and past trauma or whatever. It's all okay. It's part of the path that brought you here. Part of the dream that you had to dream until you come to here, to beyond the dream. You don't need to return to the dream. You don't need to return to the me story, the bubble of personhood. Every moment is God's silence appearing. To you, to recognize the silent stillness within. That silent stillness within radiates in the entire realm. It's not contained. The journey is from mind to God. It is not from mind to mind to mind to mind. It is from mind to God. The peace of being, the silent mind. You don't need to imagine yourself in any form or way. Which is just a limitation upon your infinity and your eternity. You do not exist in time and space. Everything that appears to you is your very self, perceiving itself via a particular body-mind consciousness, perceiving its creation via a particular body-mind which it creates, an instrument of perception, but you are not the instrument. You are that which perceives the reality of consciousness. One reality. With no opposite. Completely fulfilled, as there is nothing lacking, nothing outside of it. No external reality to consciousness. Nothing that it is missing or seeking. You are that consciousness, you are that awareness. In spite of the old model, the mind whispers in your ears that you are the mind, that you are the person, that you are somebody. You know that you are the reality that hears this whisper. You are not known or defined by the content of the whisper. The whisper is a lie. Because the true whisper carries the perfume of love, of beauty, of happiness, of joy, of freedom, of wisdom. That's God's whisper. if there are any questions, please make sure you unmute your mic and you can turn on your video. We can see each other if you care to. So, any questions? Hello, Holger.
What is a question? Because it just feels so, I have no clue what I could ask right now. I mean, I'm so happy. I mean, it's amazing.
I don't know. For a long time, I had no questions, and from anybody else, I was just sort of looking at certain dynamics within, certain feelings, certain events, but it was more questions to myself. It was sort of, and then at some time I somehow met Francis, and I listened to him, and I had like, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 questions over the period of 2-3 months. I don't know, there were questions. And then there were no questions. The question is that which expresses itself as a question. Somehow a question arises, something we're looking at. But a question is seeking its ending. It's seeking what we call the answer, which is the ending of the question. So if there are no questions, then there is the ending of the question, I guess.
I have a question.
Anna.
Or hi. I think something that gets in the way is like the fear of relaxing into myself and just being.
The best remedy for that is to go for it. Don't, trust it. You've never tasted a persimmon, but trust the hand that's offering you the right persimmon. Take a bite.
And just allow the sensation of fear.
Well, fear is always, on behalf of somebody or something of value, something that you're protecting, or somebody you're protecting or valuing, which is non-existent, non-existent. But of course, it's imagined. It's the belief, that there is something at stake, that something can hurt or can be bad for me, but the me is not your experience; it's your imagination. You don't experience a me. Your experience is that of consciousness, of awareness. But you imagine that there is somebody that may be hurtful or harmful. This somebody is this personal consciousness, that you imagine a personal consciousness. And so the whole nemesis, the basis of fear is illusion. Like when you don't know that the magician who is cutting the lady in half with the saw is a trick, it's a mirror trick or some kind of trick. When you don't know that and you're watching this, your heart is pounding and you're experiencing tremendous sense of despair. But once you understand that no, it's a play of mirrors, you still watch the magician, but you're not experiencing the emotion. It's amusing, you're amused. So you have to listen to your dad, who explains to you that, look, there is a mirror and there's this play, takes you behind the scene, shows you that the lady is in fact standing. She's not lying down on the table, she's standing. But so you have to sort of listen. You have to listen to the teaching, and you have to comprehend the teaching that says that you are not what you imagine yourself to be. You are not that character. You are not the bundle of thoughts and images that you refer to as Amna. You're not the name of the body, Amna. What you are is consciousness. You have to hear and you have to see. You have to see. You see with your eyes that yes, I am this reality that perceives right now. I am not sitting in a chair. The body may be sitting in a chair, but I am not sitting in a chair. I am not a form. I am not a form. I am not made out of flesh and bones. The I is the reality that perceives, is not made out of flesh and bones. So you have to comprehend that. And sometimes we have the understanding, but still there's still the habit of contracting, because we've been doing it for so long. So there might still be some echo within the body of what's going to happen to me. What's going to happen to me if I relax as being? What happens to me if I don't remain alert, busy, occupied, filling my day with activities, whatever, filling my mind with activities. So in that case, once you have the understanding, you have to also invite this understanding into your feeling state. You have to go to the stillness, which is at the heart of the feeling. In any emotion, there is a stillness. So you remain still. You don't move. You don't go to the defense of the illusion. You don't go to save Santa Claus from sliding off on the ice, because he forgot to tie his shoelaces, whatever. You don't let it be. So you have to trust being, which is God's being, the trust. That's actually the meaning of trust and faith, is trusting being, having faith in being, that being is the reality of worlds and minds, the world and the mind that you experience. It's reality, it's consciousness. And also keep in mind what we've said a few times, that an emotion, fear, is neutral, meaning it seems personal. That's the illusion. But in fact, it is just made out of sensation. I don't know how you experience feeling. Maybe sometimes you experience it, a dry throat, maybe, or a burning sensation in your belly. I don't know, whichever way you experience it. Or it could be just a general feeling of sensation in the body. Sensations are neutral. Like if you squeeze your hand, gently, it's a sensation, it's a neutral sensation. Or if you squeeze it really hard, really hard, it's still a neutral sensation. I'm not saying they're all equal, but they're neutral. Like if there is a very light rain, it's just a neutral event. Or if there is a torrential rain, it's a neutral event. They're not the same in that how they appear. Yes? Not all magic shows are the same. It would be boring if you go to the circus and there is only one magician or 100 magicians doing the same show. You want your money back, right? You say, why am I paying so much money to watch the same show 10 times over? So from the perspective of understanding is you can comprehend that all sensations are equal at the level of being all sensation, neutral events. And same thing with thoughts. For example, the thought that, gee, I love, chocolate ice cream, or is a neutral thought. Or I hate it when my neighbor plays music at 2 o'clock in the morning so loud and wakes me up. That's also a neutral thought. They're both thoughts. They don't look the same, because it would be boring to have the same thought all the time. One thought. It wouldn't be fun, right? So there's a diversity. But at the level of the thought is neutral. So this, you can contemplate that, see if you can comprehend that, which may allow you to be still, to remain as you are, whether the thought is, I love chocolate ice cream, or whether the thought is, I hate when they play loud music at 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm trying to sleep. So the capacity to remain still, to remain as you are, irrespective of what feeling is arising, is available to you.
If you go back to the you don't defend Santa Claus, going down the, I don't remember, it is when you say that, like the Santa Claus is the, like the identifying, so not defending Amna.
Yes, I'm not Santa Claus. There is an I'm not Santa Claus. Yes, but what you imagine you are, you see. So what you imagine you are is not that which you are. It is just your imagination, which is God's imagination. So you imagine, in your night dream, you imagine so many things, you know, whatever. Some people said, oh, you said you never dreamed you were a butterfly. Okay, so whatever you imagine is your imagination, your creation. And so your experience, whatever you experience in your night dreams, you create it and you experience it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but you're not, at the moment it feels that you are, at the moment of the dream, it feels, the illusion is that you are, well, using my metaphor, a butterfly. But then when you wake up, you realize, oh, wow, this was all my creation and my play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So similarly, in the waking state, you imagine that you are somebody, whatever, a daughter, a neighbor, a friend, whatever you imagine to yourself to be. Huh? So that's similarly, you don't need to believe that that's what you are. Yes. So if you believe that's what you are, then you're very preoccupied. You don't want anything to happen to that which you are, because above all, consciousness is love, you know. So consciousness is eternity. So here you are being concerned about consciousness ending, you see, because in the dream, you are this somebody, the identified self, the Amna. You are the somebody. That's what you imagine in ignorance, not in the dream. In ignorance, you are the somebody. And when you are the somebody, then there is time and space and the birth and death. There's beginning and ending. The realm of relativity, the relative realm. In the relative realm, there is a possibility of ending. So the ending of consciousness. Because the ending of consciousness is, of course, is an impossibility. And it's a greatest tragedy. This is our greatest fear. Our greatest fear is the fear of death, but not the death of the body, the death of me. And we're not worried about the death of the body. We're worried about our death, right? We're not thinking, oh my God, I don't want that body to die. I don't want to. No, we say, I don't want to die. I don't. So we have a concern about consciousness dying. The ending of consciousness. This is our greatest nightmare. Is the ending of consciousness. But the ending of consciousness is due to the belief that consciousness is born, that consciousness is a relative. We overlook the absolute reality of consciousness because we have conceptualized consciousness in the dream as being dependent on the body-mind, that we are dreaming, that we are experiencing, that we are perceiving. You follow?
Mm-hmm. You said at one point that consciousness doesn't, I don't remember how exactly you said it, but it doesn't experience, like you don't experience yourself as, you experience yourself as consciousness.
Consciousness.
Like you don't, yeah, I don't know, I didn't, like.
When you wake up in the morning, you experience, I'm awake, you're stretching, you wash your face, you have some breakfast, whatever you do. So you're experiencing waking up, right?
Yeah.
But right now, are you experiencing I'm awake?
No.
No, but you are awake.
Yeah.
I mean, so our true nature in consciousness is like, as a metaphor, it's a little bit like that. You don't experience yourself as consciousness. There may be a time where upon, Holger, my volume dropped. Is it still,
Yeah.
still dropped? Yes?
Yeah.
Oh, what did I do? I didn't do anything here for the volume to drop. Let me see. Is it still low? Yeah?
Yep.
Oh. Let's see. Uh-huh. Okay. Is it better now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. Somehow the input level on my, it drops. Maybe it was a timer. I set it up this morning with Holger. So, okay. Yes, so about the experience of consciousness. So you don't experience yourself as consciousness as you experience yourself as being awake right now, but yet you are, you see. So consciousness is not something we experience, it is what we are. So you are awake, but you're not experiencing I'm awake, I'm awake, I'm awake, I'm awake. Yeah, right? You follow a little bit what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So peace, which is another word for consciousness, peace and happiness, is not something we experience. Oh, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. It's like the experience of being awake. Happiness is our true nature. I sometimes speak of the metaphor, I don't know if you remember, of the fellow who was carrying a backpack full of rocks. Remember that metaphor?
Then he puts it down.
When you put it down, you feel, oh my God, I can jump, I can fly, you know. But a week later, they're not going, oh, I can jump, I can fly. And yet the load is not there anymore. So as a you know, so consciousness is a bit like that. I mean, so when we say we're seeking enlightenment, you know, enlightenment, a lot of the traditions, enlightenment. In fact, enlightenment is so banal. I mean, it's like when you wake up, you know, you're sleeping and you wake up. Okay, so you woke up, you know, what's the big deal? Now you're awake. Okay, wow, I woke up. You know what? I woke up. Well, okay. So we make a big thing out of enlightenment. But it's not a big deal. It's not a big thing, because consciousness is what we are, is awake. It's already awake. It's just the belief that I am not consciousness, that I am some separate consciousness, or a personal consciousness, or a mortal consciousness, or an improving consciousness, or progressing consciousness, whatever. That's just there is no basis for that belief. It's just a belief. Maybe you could say it's inherited belief from our culture, from our parents, who knows? It doesn't matter. What matters is that we see that, in fact, what I is awareness. In our direct experience now, I'm not talking theoretically. In our direct experience right now, if you go to I, where do you go? You don't go to the name that your parents have given to your body. You don't go to your high school experiences. You don't go to some philosophical treatise about the self. When you say I, in your direct experience, you don't go to memory. You don't go to your local rabbi or your priest. So you go directly to I, which is, here it is. I is this presence, this awareness. So it's awareness has a capacity to recognize itself, which is really beautiful. It recognizes itself. It recognizes I am, and it recognizes I know I am. I being a word or a name we give to reality, to the one reality. And then when you look at this, at consciousness, you will find that, in fact, it's not contained in your experience right now. It's not my experience that consciousness is contained inside of this box. It's not my experience. Or it's contained inside of, I don't know, inside of somewhere inside some. It's not my experience. There may be a thought that arises that says consciousness is inside your brain, or is your brain is creating consciousness. But that thought that says that is a liar. Why it's a liar? Because that thought doesn't know anything. I know the thought. That thought doesn't know anything about my brain. I perceive the thought. So the thought is a result of my perception, and that thought is not separate from awareness. So the thought and awareness is just awareness taken on the form of a thought. But if you believe that the thought is saying what the thought is saying, then you are subject to the thought. The next thought may come and say, no. It's not in your right lobe, it's in your left lobe. The thought of that says, no, it's neither in your left lobe nor in your right lobe. It is in the synaptic process occurring between the optic nerve and God knows what else. The thought after that may say, God knows what it may say. So the test for consciousness is only one candidate as a test of consciousness, which is the consciousness itself. Consciousness. Go to consciousness. Consciousness is going to itself. And it asks, am I contained? Is my experience that I'm contained inside a container? Looks around. No. Is it my experience that I'm female consciousness or male consciousness? I don't have any experience of female consciousness or male consciousness. So is consciousness more conscious at 2 o'clock or at 4 o'clock or 8 o'clock, or is there more consciousness? Is it my experience? So it's consciousness asking itself, is it my experience that I am more consciousness in January and less in February? Consciousness laughs at these questions. Is consciousness more consciousness when we are in satsang? No. Because you could be having the bowl of cereal now down in your kitchen, or and you think that consciousness is less, there is less consciousness when you're having the bowl of cereal? No, consciousness is not augmented during satsang. It's just that we're talking about consciousness. And so we're having a really nice conversation, because consciousness is happiness, love, and beauty. So we are enjoying the conversation about consciousness, and also consciousness turning its attention to itself, towards itself. Because consciousness doesn't care, about turning its attention towards itself or not. What, you think it's going to become a better consciousness when it turns its attention to itself? No. It loves going to the theater. If there is an opera or a beautiful symphony, it loves to go. So forget about satsang. Let's skip satsang. Let's go to the opera. Well, whatever you enjoy to, No, it's not. It has no interest, no particular interest, and yet everything is its interest. Is everything interest? The sun shining on the surface of the pond, beautiful. What do you think? Who do you think created that? The sun is creating the sun? No. Sun is created. The lake is created. Yes. So, but the capacity of consciousness to contemplate itself and to look at itself and to comprehend itself and to, you know, celebrate itself and enjoy itself is part of what consciousness does. It's not the only thing that it does. So here we are enjoying consciousness conversation about itself, looking at itself, and also within that process, it drops, it's letting go of the false notions. It's a clarification, a clarification. But that's not all what consciousness does, because simultaneously, maybe downtown, you know, San Francisco or wherever, it is manifesting as a couple of friends that are arguing over who should have called who first, you know. Whatever. The biggest argument are about the silliest things in general.
Where does the self-doubt come from?
The what?
Self-doubt.
Self-doubt. You see, self-doubt is justified because you can never trust Santa Claus. So you cannot trust the separate self. You cannot trust the mind, your ideas, the thoughts about the world, about your family, about your friends, about how people should be, about how your life should be, what is just in life, what is false, what is good, what is bad. You cannot trust that. So self-doubt is based on our intuition that we cannot trust Santa Claus or his reindeers, because his reindeers, if they overeat, they're lazy, they don't, you know, they don't ride the sled so good and so on. So we cannot trust the illusion. Yeah.
So when you're contemplating truth, how do you know what to trust?
Well, it depends who is contemplating. You have to. What do you when you say when you are when you? What do you mean by you? You see, because
when Santa Claus is contemplating.
Huh?
When Santa Claus is contemplating the truth.
Santa Claus does not contemplate, because how can an illusion contemplate anything? Because if an illusion is contemplating, then the contemplation is illusory too, because an illusion cannot do a real contemplation. It can only do illusory contemplation. So it's not Santa Claus that contemplates. So that's a good question. What is it contemplates? You know, it is, if we are talking about reality, because, you know, I like to talk about reality. I don't like so much. I mean, I like Santa Claus too, but I don't. This is not so much about Santa Claus, it's about reality. So
I know. I'm just using the analogy of Santa Claus being
I know
me.
you are. I know that, but it is consciousness that contemplates. So what was your question? What was your question? How do
you know, like,
that you
when I said when you're contemplating the truth, how do you know what to trust?
Oh, you only trust your experience. Your experience is different from what appears to you. So your experience, you have to your experience. So your experience what you can definitely trust is I am. Yes, because when you ask, am I? Yes, I am. Am I aware? Yes, I am aware. So you can trust that which is absolute. But you cannot trust that which comes and goes, because that which comes and goes whispers in your ear one song today, 5 minutes later they're coming to whisper something else. You know, they love you now, and you know that flower. He loves me not aware. It's like that. You cannot trust that, those petals, the petals, because the next petal will say something else. You have to trust the absolute. So you trust that which you are absolutely certain about. And in your experience, that which you are absolutely certain about is not your story. It's not the thoughts, because they keep shifting. It's not, you know, your feelings. What you can trust is consciousness.
May I ask a question, Magdi?
Yes, George.
On this question of what you can trust, excuse me, trust experience and trust something that's persistent, that doesn't come and go. Well, I don't have any question about in my experience, I am consciousness. I don't doubt that. But also in my experience, I am male.
The body is male.
Well, I understand that, but it seems that I am male.
Yeah, but what it's
in the sense that, in other words, I have experiences
of a male body.
Pardon?
A male body.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but I have experiences which are male type experiences. Let me give a silly example.
Yes.
I was watching a movie last night, and it had a nude scene in it.
Yes.
I enjoyed that. Yeah, good nude scene, okay. If I were female, I wouldn't have enjoyed that particular nude scene. So, I mean, there's just something experiential. You know, I have an attraction to women, you know.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
other people don't. You know, I'm trying to say there's an experiential aspect to this, which is persistent. It doesn't come and go.
Yes, yes, yes. So, so what is it that experiences? You know, that which experiences, let's say the arousal or the enjoyment, that is neither male nor female.
Right.
So whether you are watching whatever you are watching, there is a certain perception, a certain sensation. That which perceives the sensation is not the sensation. That which perceives the weather is not the weather. That which perceives the painting is not the painting. That which perceives the sensation is not the sensation. Yes? You're on board with that?
Right. Yes.
Now,
Yes.
what you are saying is that it seems that, in my experience, although that which perceives is neither male or female, the images that are appearing consistently and steadily over the past, you know, whatever, are male, sort of. I can classify them as more like male related, let's say. I mean, just
right.
If
yes.
you know, I know the language is not right on, but
No,
it's about the male. It's a male related, yes?
Right.
Yes. Okay. So therefore, what is it? Therefore, can you fill in the blank? Therefore, what?
Well, I mean, therefore, I want to say, therefore, I am male. Okay.
Well, wait. That's a big jump.
No, I understand that's a big jump, because what I am, you're saying, is that which perceives, and I fully.
Oh, no, wait. I'm not saying that. I am saying that, but I don't want you to just adopt what I'm saying. Is that your experience too?
I have both experiences. In other words, I have the experience that I'm not my body. I have the experience, I'm not my mind. I
Yeah.
have the experience that I am, I am what perceives. I
Yeah.
am the perceiver. I
Yes.
have those experiences,
Right. You
but
are.
I also have these, as I said before, male type of experiences, and it's hard for me to distinguish. Those kind of experiences lead me to the conclusion, oh, I'm male.
I
That's
see.
what I'm saying.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's look at that now. Right now, you're having an experience. Right now, right?
Lots of experiences, yes.
No, just this moment, whatever this experience is right now. Okay.
Right. Okay. Yes.
It is in this moment, in this experience. I'm maybe projecting, but correct me if I'm projecting. It is not my experience that this is a male or female experience. Are you on board with that? In this moment,
Right.
hearing
Well,
these words.
It depends. If I look at the screen and I look at some of those females on the screen, then it looks like I'm having a male experience.
Well, okay,
If I close my eyes,
no,
then
no,
I can say,
not closing your eyes. Just you're hearing these words right now, right? So if you turn your attention to the hearing right now, there is hearing right now, right?
if I pay attention to the hearing right now,
No, not paying attention.
you're
There
right.
is, I'm not talking about paying attention. I'm saying there is hearing right now, yes?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
there is awareness of hearing right now, yes?
Right.
Okay, this awareness of the hearing, is there anything male or female about it right now?
No.
No, okay. So I want to bring to your attention that, in fact, it could be, I'm just presenting it as a food for thought. It could be that the most of your experience is like that. It's like what I just described to you. And on occasion, there are louder experiences, maybe, and maybe short duration of that one could say, oh, this is male experience, arousal or men angry or men domination, whatever, whichever way we define
Okay.
malehood, although it's a very open topic. So whichever way we particularly define malehood, on occasion we have a malehood, especially for teenagers. There are teenage boys. I remember when I was a teenager, there was a lot of stuff like that. Let's skip that. Coming back to, I want to point to you as a food for thought that in fact, it could be that most of your experience is neither male nor female.
Yes, I can see that now. Most of the day, I'm eating, I'm reading a book, I'm sleeping, I'm listening, I'm playing the piano, I'm doing all sorts of activities.
Yes.
And when I'm doing all those activities, I don't have a male or female sense at that time. So you're right. That is the predominant.
Plus,
yes.
Plus, if you take into account the 5, 6, 7, whatever hours of sleep, where you are a butterfly or you are big elephant herder. So if you take that into account too. Also, thirdly, if you take into account that in your experience there is thought A and there is thought B and there is thought C, right? For example, just looking at thoughts.
Yes.
Thought A is different from thought B is different from thought C, right?
Definitely, yes.
So therefore, there is between thought A and thought B, there is no thought. And between thought B and thought C, there is no thought. So your experience is thought, no thought, thought, no thought, thought, no thought. But because the movie, you know, the movie screen, when you flip the movie at a certain rate, then the horse is just sort of, and then suddenly it's just going faster and faster. Now it's running, but that's because the wheel is turning. So in fact, your experience is that of thought, gap, thought, gap, thought, gap, thought, gap. Now I'm going to go on a little tangent, but the tangent is that in fact, this gap is not nothing. It's not like you disappear between thoughts. The thought disappears, but you don't disappear. Consciousness is still there. So there may be male thought gap, male thought gap, male thought gap. And then you say, whoa, my experience is of being male. Okay, fine, I got you. Now I'm pointing to the attention that, okay, yes, male thought, and then there is consciousness, male thought consciousness, male thought consciousness. Now, also, as this male thought is appearing, consciousness doesn't disappear. In fact, one could say, as a way of speaking, that consciousness is taken on the form of a thought. But all along, where there's a thought and a gap, a thought and a gap, all along, the gap is there along the whole thing. Consciousness is spread along the whole thing. So consciousness is taken on the form of malehood, then consciousness, malehood, no thought, malehood, no thought, malehood, no thought. Now, upon your comprehension that, in fact, the malehood is like the night, what are they called? The bugs at night that lay light, what are they? Huh?
I can't think of some kind of fly.
Yeah, that at night in June, the night.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I can't think of the name of it either.
Yes, I'm having the blank.
We used to call them lightning bugs.
Oh, lightning bug. Thank you, John.
Fireflies.
Thank you, John. The firefly.
Fireflies, yes, fireflies.
The malehood is just a firefly, and the night is consciousness. As a metaphor, maybe poor metaphor, but just go with me with it. So initially, it seems that our experience is firefly. Our experience is firefly. It's a firefly experience. But as you realize that, in fact, no, my experience is consciousness. I'm consciousness. You realize that, in fact, your experience is the night and it's fireflies. And fireflies are so beautiful. You don't know, one is here, the one is there. And sometimes, yes, sometimes a lot of fireflies. Sometimes there is just a few fireflies, and we wish there were more because they're so lovely. So take a look at all of that, George. In that, you are the awareness. You are the presence that perceives a certain arousal, a certain sensation, a certain that are male. But still, although you perceive malehood, you're perceiving you are not that. And also, most of your experience is during the day is actually more neutral. And finally, if you contemplate what I was saying about the gap, that your experience is that of the gap across the board. Initially, we are experience tiny gap, experience tiny gap, experience tiny gap. But at some point, your experience will be experience gap, experience gap, experience gap. And then later on, it will be experience gap, experience gap. And then at some point, it will be all gap. Gap will be experience. Experience is arising as gap, not disturbing the gap. It is gap taken on the form of experience. So you're experiencing experience as gap, which is what Jean Klein used to refer to as absence as presence and presence as absence.
Very good. Thank you. I really appreciate your answer. I appreciate it on two levels. The first thing is you pointed out that if I actually look at my experience, the male experience only occurs occasionally, But the last thing you said, I think, was really important in the sense that the gap. You know, I was going to say to you, but I don't experience this gap between thoughts. These thoughts just keep on coming with very little gap space in between. But yes, I can see it now.
Mhm.
So I really appreciate you've answered my question. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Sure. Any questions? Okay, well, very lovely to be with you, Trish, Holger, Amna, George, Ola, Isaac, Holly, Esther, Kelly, hello Kelly, John, Aya, and Marga. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you
guys.
again, Magdi.